Welcome to your reading. So I have been wanting to film this reading for so long. It has been requested by I don't know how many of you, and I know career readings don't do as well on the channel, but obviously enough of you are wanting to see this topic, so hopefully it provides, you know, the clarity that you're needing. But we're just going to leave it totally open today. We're just going to get some career guidance and see what messages come through. And I'll try to make sure I address like everyone's particular situation. So whether you're employed or unemployed or a student, I'm definitely going to make sure I'm clear when we're reading the cards. So I am going to do all uprights today. Let's do that. Okay, group 1 career guidance for my group 1s, please Spirit. Group 1, we've got the 3 of Pentacles. How cool is it to start off a career reading with the 3 of Pentacles? I mean, beautiful. So I will say, like, right off the bat, you know, like if you're unemployed or you've been looking for a job for a while, even though you have like a current job, but you're just not satisfied. Wow, 7 of Pentacles. We're just we're just keeping up with all the career messages. I will say, if you are just dissatisfied with your current position, or you're unemployed and have been looking for a while, or if you're a student and you're not sure what you want to do when you graduate, the way the 3 of Pentacles is depicted in this particular deck, and I was drawn to this deck for your group. I'm not going to use it for group 2 or group 3, so I do that to get more personalized messages for you guys. But here, you see how it comes like a blessing. And with the butterfly here, it's a transformation. Hold on, my AC like just kicked on and I don't like the noise that makes, so I'm gonna turn it up and hopefully it goes off. I'll just deal with like being hot during your reading. It's okay. But the way the butterfly is coming in here, it's really a point of transformation for you. So there is going to be a big shift. And so that makes sense, you know, if you're a student and you're about to graduate and you're not sure what you want to do and you have this kind of like epiphany, aha moment, you know, this could come from having a conversation with somebody. It could come through a sign or synchronicity from the universe that kind of just guides you in the right direction. But it does feel like this instant kind of moment of like, oh, here is my breakthrough. So if you've been unemployed for a while and you've been waiting to hear back, this could be like a call for an interview. This could be you seeing a job posting that you're finally excited about instead of just applying for the sake of applying. Or this could be things transforming in your current workplace and sort of an unexpected turn of events. So for some of you, this could be like that supervisor who always gives you a hard time is actually leaving. You know, it could be something like that, or you unexpectedly are able to get a promotion, or you're able maybe to transfer to a different location within your same company, and it ends up being a better space for you. So, and this could play out in a lot of different ways, but this also feels like you're being recognized, especially with the Seven of Pentacles here. So like if you've been investing a lot of time and energy into something, especially for those of you who also have like side projects or a side hustle, or, you know, just a little dream, a small hope you've been nursing, this is kind of like someone or a group of people, whether it's like, you know, like a subscriber base, like if you have a YouTube channel as well, or a customer base, or someone within that field kind of recognizing your efforts and your raw talent and your capacity to kind of go the distance with this, with the Seven of Pentacles. So, you know, this is a card about patience and hard work and diligence. And so it's like combining these two cards together, especially too, because this is the same exact fairy. So I really like that. You know, it's like people with the little mice here, like they want your attention, like they're recognizing the good work that you're doing, or again, just like your potential to succeed. Because with the Seven of Pentacles, you're not there yet, but with the Three of Pentacles being next to it, there's an acknowledgement here of your work, or your skill level, or again, just like your raw talent. Like there's something about you that is a cut above the rest. And so it feels like, okay, like finally we're getting this breakthrough moment. Finally, we're getting this moment of recognition. And, you know, again, if you're a student, I feel like this could play out like you starting to maybe come into your own a little bit and understand your skills and like how you can market your education kind of thing to get to where you want to be. Especially for those of you who are also wanting to apply to like graduate school or something like that. The Star. Didn't I talk about nursing a small hope? That's the Star card. You know, because how long would it take to fill up this like little pond thing, right? And how long would it take to water sort of the moss on these rocks and like, you know, to kind of grow something from nothing? And with the Seven of Pentacles here, that's the energy. So there is, again, that breakthrough moment, a wish coming true. So for some of you, this is something that you may have been kind of on like your last thread of hope, I'm hearing. And I don't know if that's a common expression or not, but your last thread of hope. Like it feels like for a while, maybe mentally, emotionally, and maybe even this was affecting like your faith. But if you think about like wishing upon a star, but maybe you were sort of, I'm seeing this unraveling with this thread. I don't know, they keep showing me this thread. And it's like, you thought you were breaking at the seams, but really like you were pulling on that thread, like you were moving towards something that was quite destined for you, that was fated for you, that was your path. And, you know, Spirit is saying like, it's not always the easiest road, but that doesn't mean it's not your path, you know, and that's always so tricky to discern. It's like, am I trying to, like, is the universe trying to redirect me here? Am I on the wrong path? Or is this just an obstacle that I'm meant to overcome? Like, that's always tricky. That's always tricky. And so if you were questioning that, whatever that hope was, whatever that dream was, that underlying wish, you're not wrong for having that desire. And Spirit is saying, like, just because something's going to take a long time doesn't mean it's not worthwhile. And so apply that how it resonates. Yeah, the Page of Cups, the Knight of Cups. This is, I think for some of you, and it's so funny how you have like these repeating, like you have two Court cards, right? And you have two Cups cards, and then you have two Pentacle cards. And this is one of my most used decks. So like this deck gets shuffled so much, and the fact that we still have these kind of repeating themes is really cool. But I feel like Spirit is kind of saying, for some of you, you may be thinking like, but what wish, but what dream? For some of you, it's something that you have carried with you from like childhood or from when you were younger, or something that maybe you have repressed to an extent because it is painful to think about. And maybe for some of you, it's kind of that point of like, I've carried it for so long. Where do I put it down? Because to keep carrying it feels like such a burden at this point. Like, I should just give up. And that's why I said, like, some of you were like on your last thread of hope. I think Spirit wanted to acknowledge that really fast. Like, we get that, we understand that, but it was always meant for you, like, regardless. Yeah, the Nine of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles, that last thread of hope. And look here, we have this bird here carrying this rose, and look at like just the anguish on her face and like the torture here, and just feeling so stuck, feeling so stagnant. And then this last ray of like hope coming in, this like small act of kindness, and how emotional she is about that. And then for that card to come out with the Ace of Pentacles, all aces are a blessing. They're a blessing from the divine, because it's typically depicted like a hand coming from the heavens to offer you something, right? And in this deck, it's really depicted as this complete offering of abundance, this harvest. And how beautiful is that transition from the Seven of Pentacles, which is all about planting seeds and keeping your faith and nourishing those seeds of intention. And, you know, whether that is actually physically doing something about it or praying about it, whatever the, you know, the particular situation calls for, or doing both of those things. But regardless, like, there's a feeling of like, okay, my ship has finally come in. I'm finally, it's like, you know, in like relay races, it's like you've been waiting for someone to pass you the baton for so long, and you're like, I'm so ready. Like, I'm so ready to just dive into this. I'm so ready to run. And if you're like waiting for someone to pass you a baton, and you're in the middle of this race, right? And you feel stuck and you feel trapped and you can't move until someone hands you that opportunity, that baton, right? Your body would be so tense. Like, imagine the amount of stress and anxiety that you would be carrying around with you, just like waiting for it's like you just been waiting for a chance. You're not even asking for like guaranteed success. You're like, just give me a shot. And finally it feels like, okay, I'm being given my shot. And I think that feels so incredible. So yeah, there's definitely like more financial opportunity, more stability. But I think even more than that, it's something close to your heart. And I think it's really that point of surrender. Like, I'm about to give up hope. And here we go. And some of you may be asking, like, why is it like that? I don't know why it's like that. But this is probably something to do with divine timing. You know, we all know how that game goes, whether it's in your professional life or whether it's your romantic life, or, oh, this is interesting. There's so many like really cool themes going on in your reading, but there's also a really cool interplay between the cards. And it's been a minute since I filmed, and I think I'm getting almost like a little bit emotional about it because, how do I explain this? I think sometimes when I take space from doing tarot readings and then I come back to it, it's like falling in love all over again. And your reading's kind of doing that for me. So if I sound a little bit spacey, I apologize for that, and I'm going to try to keep the messages concise. But your bottom of the deck is the Four of Swords, and I love this because I feel like this is a real point of peace for you. And it's funny because a lot of times when we're offered some really big opportunity, that can feel like really scary and really uncertain, and like, man, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot. I don't want to mess up this chance. But for you all, I think because you've been waiting for so long, and finally like the relief of being handed that baton and just being able to run with it, I think for you all, it is a feeling of peace. And it's funny because, again, like, you would think you would still be anxious, like, oh man, it's a mad dash, I still got to cross the finish line. But I think you're just so grateful to even have the opportunity, that is completely mitigating or eradicating any type of, I guess, anxiety or like tendency to self-sabotage. Or you know what, if you've ever had the imposter syndrome, you are sidestepping that trap because of how long this has taken. And it's weird, like you wouldn't expect it. You would think the stakes would be so high, but for you all, it's like, at least now I have a chance. Whereas before I felt like all hope was lost, except for that single thread, right? And now that you have this opportunity, it's like, I'm gonna give it everything that I have. And if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't pan out for whatever reason, I think it would almost be like a relief, because at least then you would know. And you would be able to move on. And it wouldn't be like this repressed dream that you're dragging around with you that just feels like a burden when it should feel like an inspiration. Okay? Now back to this King of Cups and this King of Wands. What a dichotomy, right? You got like the water and the fire. There's two different ways that this could be playing out for you all, and feel free to claim both. Or if one message is resonating more than the other, that's okay too. I feel like this, for some of you, like this dream, this desire, this hope, whatever you want to call it, this calling for some of you, is something close to your heart, like we've been talking about with this King of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. But for others of you, it's not just something that's close to your heart or something that would emotionally fulfill you. It's more than that. And it's something where you have like this, and I know some people may not like the way that I'm going to word this, but for some of you, like you just have this God-given talent, this raw talent. And it's just been, and I think sometimes that's really, really hard when we have a talent, but it hasn't been expressed. And it can kind of feel like we're not living up to our potential, or that we're failing in some way. And I think that part of ourselves, the way it can like wither away, and the way it can kind of just almost like die, this slow death, can just feel kind of soul crushing after a while. And it can feel really just, it's something that needs to be expressed, because otherwise it's just kind of rotting away inside of you. And it's just something like a seed that cannot break soil. And the way that that would frustrate that important, integral aspect of yourself to have a gift that has not been expressed. Because I think when you have that God-given talent, it's because it was meant to be expressed, because it was meant to be shared and enjoyed with others. It was meant to add some kind of value to the world. And that's very tied to your purpose, right? And so you see how that could affect you. And so I feel like it's both of these things. It's both of these sides to you that are like wanting to come out, wanting to feel fulfilled, wanting to feel realized. I'm hearing like realized. And for some of you too, this could be like a creative idea that's just been wanting to be expressed. And for others of you, this King of Cups and this King of Wands could be the same person, or it could be two people coming forward to be mentors. And this could also represent some spirit guides who are helping you along this process. So, just take whatever resonates. King of Wands obviously could be an Aries, Leo, or a Sagittarius person. And with it being divine masculine energy, and King, it could be someone older than you, someone who's really established, in whatever field we're kind of talking about here. Okay. I think this reading is going to be longer than I anticipated. And for, if you're a student, these could be like professors who are really inspiring to you. Group 1, career guidance. Is there anything that I haven't said, Spirit, that you feel like Group 1 should really know about their professional life? Gratitude. Yeah, I feel like we have touched on this, but I do feel like this is Spirit kind of re-emphasizing that idea. Like, you're just so grateful for the opportunity that it's overshadowing or minimizing any anxiety or fear that you may have about failing. And we have attraction here. I do feel like for some of you, especially with the Star card being here, it's not just for some of you like the physical action that you've taken, it's the fact that you have believed in this. And even if you were on your last thread of hope, there was still like this flicker of a flame inside of you that was drawing this to you. And so I think part of this is just remembering if there's any other aspect of your life that you're dissatisfied with, or there's something more that you're wanting, remember your power. And remember your ability to co-create with Spirit, and this idea that you don't always have to do it all on your own. And why would you? Why would you? Like, I always reference, and I was trying to explain this to someone that I was dating recently, but I always reference this Kerry Washington clip when she was talking about her bus. And like, you work really hard to catch the bus, and you also pray to catch the bus. And that way, if you miss the bus, you know it's just not your bus. Whereas if you don't work hard and you just pray on it, you don't know if you had worked hard if it would have actually been your bus. Or if you do the opposite and you just work hard but you don't pray on it at all, maybe that prayer would have given you that extra boost. Like, why not do both? And then that way you have peace of mind. Like, I used every tool at my disposal and I still didn't make the bus. It just wasn't my bus. And I think, remember your power, and remember that the universe has your back here, and that, you know, you're never really alone. Yeah, I feel like the potatoes with grounding here, I feel like that will help you stay really rooted, because you're not avoiding the practical, hard kind of actions that we have to take sometimes, you know, and you're still engaged in that like hard work ethic kind of thing. You're taking those necessary steps, but then also you're grounded and rooted in your faith. And so when you have both of those in balance, I think that's when you're at your most powerful. And it's tricky. I mean, it is tricky. Okay, for some of you, if you kind of don't know like where to go or what to do, can we just get some advice on that, Spirit? Like if group 1 is just totally lost, Virgo, let go of perfectionism, let go of an idea of like what you should be doing, and I think revisit that repressed dream or desire or hope that you've had. And Virgo is really about perseverance as well. And Virgo can definitely talk about our physical health. I think be mindful of overthinking this, and be mindful of not putting so much pressure on yourself to be perfect, and be mindful of overthinking. And I think if you are in that space, attune to your physical body. Like, how can you release tension? Because we were talking about your body feeling so tense, like waiting for this opportunity, waiting for that baton. Yeah, 8th house, Scorpio. I do feel like this is really going to transform and heal a lot of insecurities you may have had, or self-doubt about your capacity to be successful. I know for myself, like, I mean, my mom was 19 when she had me. Like, there was no financial stability in my childhood. And like, I was always told we were on a budget, always. And it does create this sort of lack, scarcity mindset. And I was even telling my friend yesterday, like, I still really, really struggle. Like, I feel like I'm in this constant like fight or flight mode, this survival instinct from a difficult circumstance I had like back in 2019, and I'm really minimizing it by calling it a difficult circumstance. It was a traumatic event, but it still kind of weighs on me, like this, yeah, just like this fear of like just being able to survive. And so I really feel like this entire, maybe this is why it has taken so long, but I feel like this entire journey that we've been discussing for you all, and I didn't expect this reading to be so big. I thought it was going to be really specific, but it feels like for you all, you're going through some like really big and heavy things right now. And it's funny, like with tarot, like you can expect a reading to go one way and then it just completely goes another. But I think this is going to be so healing for you and just so personally transformative in how you think about your own personal power. So I think all of this is going to lead to a lot of self-development, but also a lot of self-empowerment, which I love to see that for you, because you're overcoming a lot of fears. And I also feel like for some of you, you could be creating a legacy for yourself as well, because the 8th house can talk about inheritance. So you could be creating generational wealth through this, or like making a name for yourself to where like your children or your grandchildren would be quite proud of like your family's name, that kind of thing. Libra, yeah, staying very balanced, and I think that's part of why we had the King of Cups and the King of Wands come out. Staying balanced, staying grounded, like we've been discussing. But I also feel like a lot of this too could be talking about something that's going to add a lot of beauty to your life, or allow you to romanticize your life in a way that maybe you just never gave yourself permission to before. And with Saturn being your bottom of the deck, we were right on the money. Like, it's been a hard, long road for you. Saturn rules Father Time, and it's Capricorn energy as well. And so, I mean, you see what it says here: feeling restricted, experiencing struggle, learning hard work, patience. That's the 7 of Pentacles, like all day long. So, I mean, there's been quite a path for you here, and I think that's what's made it hard, because you're just like, man, like, is this even what I should be pursuing, or am I even up to this task? You know, like, I feel like there's just been a lot of questioning as to whether or not you're good enough. And I think like that has broken, like if the universe had a heart, that would break its heart, because you were never meant to give up. It was just it's almost like the universe is saying, like, we had to break you down a bit to build you back up. And we understand that process may not have been the easiest, but there was a lot of things I felt, Spirit feels like you had to unlearn. And so for some of you, maybe you are resonating with what I was talking about, just as like a personal example of like unlearning this like scarcity mindset. And now I'm still unlearning like this fight or flight survival thing. Like, it's time to let it go. And I'm still struggling with that. And it comes up in like weird ways sometimes. And so, you know, for some of you, you may be going through that a bit as well. And I will also say that the friendships or the connections that you make as your career progresses forward is going to be really exciting and really surprising. So for some of you, this could be like meeting a future love interest through your work. This could be meeting a mentor. This could be the relationship you have with like your fan base or your customer base, if that applies. But there's something there about this really being a socially fulfilling thing as well. Okay. Any major themes, I guess, moving forward for group 1 in terms of their career? Yeah, time to be happy. You know, it's like, it really does kind of carry this energy of like someone finally getting their big break. Finally getting that call. Oh, I love this. I love this so much for you all. Safe home. And I was just talking about survival instinct. So for some of you, you know, your finances could have been quite dire you know, or there could have been some real struggle there, and it's like finally coming into this place of like contentment, this place of stability, this place of security. But with the Ace of Pentacles, this place of abundance. So it's like, not only do I have enough, but now I feel like I have more than enough. And it's not just in terms of money, but again, in terms of like your own emotional fulfillment, in terms of like what you do. And even your bottom of the deck is friendship. And we were just talking about that with Libra, like that being kind of a surprising thing that's going to happen. Some of you may be connecting with soul family as a result of this entire transition. And then I just want to end your reading with some Thera-pets messages, because I feel like these are always so sweet and so reassuring. And we all we all need that from time to time. Okay. It says, look at everything you have survived so far. You weren't defeated then, you won't be defeated now. Yeah. I mean, I should probably just put this up like on my wall somewhere, just to remember. But I think sometimes too, and this is also another thing I was discussing with my friend yesterday, when you are having like financial struggles, or you are having this like real lack in your life to the point to where your root chakra is messed up, you don't even feel like your basic needs are met, you just are completely fight or flight survival mode. And then when you get to a place of stability, security, and you do feel safe, you would think your mental health would just automatically kind of improve. But it's almost like then your body's like, oh, okay, now I can breathe out, now I can break down. And you know, that's when you have these I guess like these like mental health issues come up, these emotional issues come up, and it's because now you're in a safe enough environment to finally process everything you had to push down just to survive before. And this can play out in so many different ways, but I think for some of you, that's what this process is going to be like, where you feel like you've been waiting so long for this break, and then you get it, and it's like this peacefulness washes over you, and you can finally run towards that thing. But I also think for some of you, you're at that breaking down point, and it's that last thread of hope and that unraveling. And so I feel like Spirit wants to say, you know, that peacefulness is going to come back around again, and don't feel like you're never gonna reach that point of contentment again. Or if you've never experienced it, you will get to a point of peacefulness in your life. And I really hope I'm making sense, because I feel like we're discussing kind of some really larger themes again than I anticipated with this reading. Says, here's a friendly reminder that the negative voice in your head is not you, and you are actually completely delightful. That may be that Virgo energy that we were talking about, that perfectionism, that self-criticism. Virgo can be like, I know 2 Moon and Virgo people, and one of them is my mother. And it's like, it's a real struggle if that's your placement, or if you have significant Virgo placements in your birth chart, or you've just been in that energy. Virgo has a lot of positive qualities, just like every sign, but that perfectionism, that self-criticism, it's so hard. It's so hard. It says, you're not going to succeed at everything you try, and that's okay. And I feel like this is referencing that idea that if there have been obstacles, if there have been really challenging aspects to this path, don't feel like it's not your path. And it's okay. It's okay if the journey was hard. It doesn't mean that it wasn't worthwhile, okay? All right. And you also, like, you don't have to be a master of everything. You just have to master your path. So we're at like 33 minutes now. So Group 1, this was your reading. Thank you for your patience with me filming this. I'm definitely going to try to finish this reading today. I don't know if I will. But yeah, I am so grateful that you all have stuck around, because I know I've had a bit of pauses recently with filming. There's been a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and just, I think a lot of just a lot of adjustments. And I'm trying to be a little bit better about not overworking myself and having better balance between different aspects of my life. So I don't know how filming is going to progress, but I'm definitely going to try for some kind of consistency and get back on track in that regard. But anyway, thank you all so much for letting me do this reading for you, and I will see you in my next one. I'm wishing you the very, very best. Welcome to your reading. I'm so glad that I'm finally getting to film this. I'm glad to be back filming in general, but especially this reading. I feel like so many people have requested a career reading and I just haven't gotten to it. So I'm going to do my best to address all possible scenarios. So whether you're employed, looking for a job, maybe just unhappy with your current situation, or you're a student. So we'll just see what the cards have to say and then go from there. I'm just going to leave it totally open. So just career guidance for my group 2s, and we'll do all uprights today. And thank you all for your patience too while I took a break from filming. It wasn't intentional, it was just so many things going on. And I don't know, like I'm trying to be more mindful, like if I'm not in the space to film, to just not film, you know, and not force it. Okay, so we have the cat, which is the Fool card in this deck. We have the 3 of Wands and the King of Cups. Things are moving pretty fast in your career because these cards are just coming out so quickly. We got one more, and then we will get started. 7 of Pentacles. This card also came out in group 1. Oh wow, the 10 of Wands as your bottom of the deck, and we were talking about things moving quickly. And in this particular deck, the 10 of Wands is an explosion. Usually with the 10 of Wands, you see a person walking up like a steep hill carrying all of the wands, right? But in this deck, it's just an explosion. And so there is, I feel like for some of you, this uncertainty with your career, or this feeling of not being able to keep up, of things just kind of getting away from you. And kind of just this feeling, I think, of being overwhelmed. And I can see how that could apply no matter what your situation is. You know, if you're a student, maybe you're struggling with like your course load this semester, or, you know, especially if you're having to do like an internship at the same time, or if you're unemployed, that can be like the most stressful thing ever, applying for jobs and going on interviews and things like that, or just waiting for a call back and not getting one. And if you're working, it could be that, you know, you started a new job, you're trying to learn everything, or things are just really hectic at your workplace. But yeah, there definitely seems to be some stress going on. And I like to see the rest of your cards here. We also have Consequences, which is the Judgment card in this deck, and we also have the Ace of Wands. So I think overall, like looking at your spread here, there is a feeling of the light coming back in a very good way. And it's not to say that everything is going to be sorted out overnight, nothing like that. However, it does feel like things are getting to a place to where you feel hopeful again in terms of your professional life. You feel like you can manage your stress, you can manage your emotions. And so for some of you, maybe the circumstances aren't changing, but you're getting better at responding to those circumstances. For others of you, this could be that the situation is getting better and emotionally you're able to process things. Because sometimes, honestly, like especially with this consequences card, it's like sometimes when the mess has happened, like the storm has come, and even though the storm leaves behind this wreckage, right? It's like, well, at least now I can start to clean it up, versus when you're in the middle of the storm and you can't even get your bearings. And so I feel like that's kind of what's happening here. It's like, okay, I was in this storm, you know, with this 10 of Wands. I was trying to deal with whatever this explosion was, whatever this, you know, stress was. And now I'm able to at least get things back in order. Like at least the storm is gone, and yeah, whatever was stressing me out may have left me with a bit of a mess, but at least now I can clean it up, you know? And so I feel like there's a sense of like hope and optimism returning. There's a sense of newness, a sense of freshness, a sense of like, okay, I can shift my perspective here and I can look at this like a chance for a new beginning, a new start, a new adventure, especially if you're unemployed. Especially if you're unemployed, or if you're a student and you're about to graduate, something like that. Like you can look at it like, I have all of this potential for a new beginning, versus you can continue to focus on the loss, right? And what has not worked out. So I think your perspective here really, really matters. And with the 7 of Pentacles here, like this cat just trying to like patiently wait for whatever animal is going to come out of this little nest type of deal down here. Like, you know, you can sit there and watch paint dry, or you can pick up a paintbrush and start focusing on like what you can do, right? So it's I really think a big part of this is you coming to a space to where you can manage your emotions about this better. You can manage your response about this better. And also looking at it like, okay, the smoke has cleared, you know, the storm has passed. Now, what will come of this sort of thing? So let's see, like, what is going to come of this whole situation? We've got this is a lot about a new beginning, a new adventure, planning. And this is the 2 of Wands. So some of you, you know, you may, if you are employed, you may have like one foot out the door and you're on the precipice of leaving like your current workplace to do something different, or leaving your current position to do something different. And I feel like you're being encouraged to just go for it if that's the case. Like if you have been on the fence about that, I feel like Spirit is saying, yeah, try. At least plan for it. At least look at your other options. At least give it some consideration. You know, like you're not trapped. You're not as stuck as you feel. And for others of you, you know, like if you are just completely unemployed, or you're a student, about to graduate, don't know what you're gonna do, I feel like this is saying like you can let that terrify you, or you can let all of that space that you have in your life for the right opportunity to come along to really excite you. So I think honestly, you know what, I recently I read a quote, and I had pinned this to like one of my Pinterest boards like forever ago, like who knows how many years ago, but the quote was something like most people don't know how many times I have survived myself. And I'm probably not quoting it exactly, and I don't know where that quote came from. I can't recall. But that phrase really stuck with me. Because I think so often, especially if you're a fire sign like me, like I'm a Leo, so often like internally I can just be crumbling. I can just really be struggling, really going through it, but I'm laughing, I'm joking, I'm smiling, you know? Like, I don't really reveal that. I don't really show that. And especially in like a professional environment, you know, I keep things light, I keep things, you know, happy-go-lucky a lot of the times. And, you know, as you should. You shouldn't be, you know, crying at work, you know, right? But even in like my personal relationships and stuff, like I can still put up a front sometimes, or put up a facade that everything's okay. And I think a lot of times, like, we don't really know what other people are going through, and sometimes it can really shock you what's going on in someone's personal life, especially if they're really good at putting up a front like I am and just joking and laughing, even when inside you feel that crumbling, right? So I feel like this is Spirit kind of acknowledging, like, the hardest part about this is your own emotional state about it. Especially if you're someone who struggles with anxiety or any type of mental health issue, or you just have a difficult time acknowledging, feeling your emotions, processing it, or if you're like me and you like to laugh stuff off, you know, that can be difficult. That can be difficult because at some point you just gotta cry, you just gotta release it, you just gotta face it. And that can be hard, that can be hard. So I feel like Spirit is like wanting to say, as difficult as it is to, yeah, Queen of Swords. So some of you may do a thing where you rationalize or logically sort of think through your feelings rather than just feeling them and releasing them and letting them go. Some of you may ruminate on them or overthink, that kind of thing, and especially if you have anxiety. So, or you know, you just don't like to, the Queen of Swords is a tough cookie. So she's not gonna show when she's sad or upset or distressed or overwhelmed. Like, she's gonna keep it cool, calm, and collected on the outside, right? So I feel like Spirit is saying, like, we know you're not showing this to other people, but we see it. We see it, we want to acknowledge it, and we want to say, like, you're doing the best that you can, and you weirdly have more power than you realize, because the biggest enemy in all of this is your own, fraught, I guess, relationship with your own emotions. Like, your own mental state is making this so much worse than what it needed to be. And that's not like blaming you in any type of way. It's just, it can be hard. It can be hard to cry, to like emotionally break down, like, but ultimately that release, whatever that release looks like for you, like if you just need to scream, I don't know what you need to do, but that emotional release ultimately, because whatever this is, I mean, it really has stressed you out, you're going to feel so much better. We're going to feel so much better for it. So if you want to know, like, how can I immediately make myself feel better about all this? 9 of Cups. I love this 9 of Cups. It's improving your relationship with your own emotions and finding a way to manage those emotions without repressing them, right? And not falling into the trap of toxic positivity. If that's something that you do, no judgment there. I didn't realize how badly I did that until I watched the Pixar movie Inside Out a couple years ago, and I was not expecting to cry when I was watching that movie, but it just brought up a lot for me, and I was like, man, I do this. Like, I do this really badly. And thankfully, you know, I think I've, you know, kind of coped with that since then. But yeah, that may be the case for some of you. With this 9 of Cups, though, I mean, I think that, again, like, if you feel stuck or you're a little bit hesitant to take a certain step, I feel like Spirit is saying, this is the time to be brave. This is the time to not let fear hold you back, because what is on the other side of that is a wish come true. And you see the cat here with like the shrimp and the fish and the the milk and all this, like the birds, like it's going to be complete and total happiness on the other side of it in terms of your career and how emotionally fulfilled you feel. And, you know, emotional fulfillment in career looks different for different people. Some people want to feel like they can express themselves creatively. Other people are like, you know what, it's a paycheck. And as long as I am well compensated and I can live the lifestyle that I want to live, I'm good. Other people want to have authority in their career. Other people want to be in a place of leadership. Other people want flexibility and they want freedom. They want to be able to travel. Other people want to work from home. So what does that emotional fulfillment look like to you? Because it is on the other side of you overcoming this fear. And I do think, you know, like your emotions have held you back in a certain way. Not, again, because your emotions are wrong, but because you haven't allowed yourself or given yourself the permission, the space to feel them, process them, and move on. Okay? Yeah, the King of Swords now. I really feel like there's a reason too, right? Why the Sky Queen, the Sky King, this King and Queen of Swords are depicted in winter season. There's just like this coldness, I think, where you have this separation, you know, and I think for some of you guys, that feeling certain things can in turn put you in a space of viewing yourself as weak or viewing yourself as vulnerable in a way that I think can make you uncomfortable. And Spirit is really encouraging you to get comfortable in that discomfort. And so a lot of this, as cheesy as it sounds, is facing your fear. But I think the fear for a lot of you is just getting in touch with your own emotions and not having that separation, not having that mental, logical separation from your own emotional state. And my moon's in Gemini, so I get it. Like I 100% just think my way through how I feel, and it's tough. Now we've got the Magician here. Yeah, I do feel like, oh wow, the Nine of Pentacles. You definitely want that in a career reading. And we have the Chariot. So yeah, there's going to be positive movement forward. Your bottom of the deck is the Tower. I think that's that 10 of Wands that we were talking about in the beginning, that storm, that really stressful situation. I do feel like you have, again, the capacity to move past this. You have more power than you realize, and that was a theme in group 1 as well, having more power than you realize. But for you all, your power really lies in getting in touch with your emotions and managing them, again, instead of repressing them, and understanding that you're not stuck. Some of you guys feel so stuck, and that's the issue as well. And so like you have more choices than you realize. And it's even this Nine of Pentacles, the way it's depicted in this deck, and I'm not using this deck for any other group, it looks like a portal. And remember, like just stepping through the door with the Two of Wands, like just step through the door. Take that initial first step and you will be amazed at what comes of it. But it's like you need to bet on yourself more. And I think that comes from your self-confidence and your self-worth, but that's all tied up in your emotions. So if you're feeling anxious and uncertain, that's going to keep you stuck where you're at, because even if we're unhappy, it's the devil that we know, right? And there's comfort in that. So again, getting comfortable in the discomfort. And I think with the Magician here, especially given the Chariot, it's like just taking ownership of what you can do to improve your situation. And for some of you, you know, you may want to move, you may want to travel, you may want to relocate in terms of your career. And so if that's been the case, I do feel like a lot of your cards are encouraging you to go for that. Or if you've been wanting to change to another field, it's encouraging you to do it. Like whatever change, because I feel like some of you just Lord, I'm tripping up on my words. Some of you guys have just really been wanting a change, but it's like the fear keeping you where you're at. And then I feel like most of this reading is saying do it. Like if you want to change your major, if you want to transfer to another university, like however this applies to like your personal situation, be brave enough to just do it, to just go for it. And you can be like scared and do something anyway. I always say that just as, you know, like my personal advice to you, not from your cards. We have affection here. I feel like this card, especially with the cat and the mirror and then Taurus being here, Spirit is wanting to say your self-worth in this really, really matters. Like, what do you think you're good enough to do? Don't limit yourself. Don't hold yourself back. Don't think that you can't do a certain thing just because maybe one element of it scares you. So for example, maybe you've always wanted to move up in your current career, but you know, if you did that, if you took on a more leadership role, you would have to do some public speaking, and that really scares you. Don't let that be the thing that holds you back. I remember when I was an undergrad, I originally wanted to get my PhD in psychology. And do you know why I didn't end up applying for the program? Because they told me that I was going to have to TA, which meant that I was going to have to speak in front of really large lecture halls. And I was scared. I was terrified of public speaking, so frightened. And I was like, I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I was limiting myself so much. And that self-doubt like really derailed me like in so many ways. And so, you know, if it's something like that, like don't hold yourself back. And with this agreement here, like some of you could be getting offered a contract, you know, like every time, you know, like if you're going to be working for a company, most of the time there's an offer letter, and most of the time you sign that offer letter. So I think for some of you, like if you've been looking for a job, this is saying like you will be getting an offer letter soon, okay? And with stimulation with the chili peppers here, I do think this is going to be something really exciting for you, but I also think it's going to be something that's equally scary. But it's going to be something that you're quite passionate about. And I also feel like that passion is very, again, very specific to you, because different things spark passion in people, right? Like we were talking about before, like what do you want out of your career? Because people want different things, you know, people have different long-term goals, right? Okay. Let's just see if there's any messages that I've missed. Capricorn came out really fast. Some of you guys are just super ambitious as well. We've got water, we've got Scorpio, and Scorpio is a water sign, so we've got water energy indicated twice here. I feel like this is really like Scorpio talks about our deep-rooted fears, but it also talks about our passion. And so I feel like for you all, again, it's your own emotions. And Scorpio can really have a poker face. Like Scorpio people are really, really private. It's hard, you know, deep waters, right? Like it's hard to figure out what's going on with the Scorpio. Sometimes it can be really secretive. And I think that's what we were picking up on before. Like you could be going through hell and back. And I don't think a lot of people would realize that about you, because I feel like you keep your cards, you keep your emotions close to your chest. And yeah, I don't feel like, you know, it's easy for people to discern when you're struggling. And I think that may be something too to consider, like opening up and asking for help when you need it, even if it's just emotional support throughout this process. And then with Capricorn in the 10th house, I feel like, you know, this is saying your success here is assured, but we can't force you to get on the boat. You know, like we can bring the boat to you, we can stock the boat, we can make the boat look as inviting as possible, but if you don't get on the boat, we can't, you know, take you to the other side. We can't take you to your destination. You do have to make that initial step. So again, if there's something you've been putting off, I feel like it's saying like go for it, just do it. And don't feel Scorpio is very stubborn too. It's fixed water. So don't get so stuck in your old ways. Don't get so stuck in certain belief systems, certain patterns of thought that keep you in a state where you're not really emotionally fulfilled, you know? Inspiration, confidence, and we also have, I was not expecting to get this many cards, but we also have wisdom and fertility. So I do feel like kind of similar to group one in the sense that this is going to be a process by which you really grow in terms of your self-development. But I think honestly, you guys probably come off a lot more confident or a lot more put together than you actually are. Because again, I feel like a lot of people wouldn't even know that you're like kind of struggling. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, like, you know, we would like you to get to a point to where you don't have to keep faking it till you make it, where you allow yourself to come to a place of like, you know what? I can handle this and I can do this, and just trusting in yourself and trusting in the signs, and know that you are being led, and know that your past, if you want to call them failures, but your past experiences have made you wiser, and you have learned from them, and you can use those past experiences as tools to propel you forward. And you know, I definitely think that, especially with fertility and inspiration here, there's going to be a lot of growth in terms of your financial status, you know, like your ability to make money is definitely improving, for sure. And I think also if you're a creative person, you know, if something in your career relates to creativity, I think that is going to be something that you're seeing a lot of growth in, like, especially if you, for example, like if you're a writer and you've had writer's block, I could see that ending for you. You know, it's like a revitalization of your creativity. All right, let's just see some overarching themes for your career. Group 2. Harvest, yeah. And then we also have new beginnings, which is like a lot of what we've been talking about here. We'll get, I think, one more card. Oh, true love. Yeah, falling in love with what you do, enjoying what you do, feeling a sense of connection to it. And, you know, and that, again, can be motivated by a lot of different things, but what sparks that within you? Like, what makes you motivated to go to work or to do your job? Or, you know, like what kind of career path or what kind of position would do that for you? Because that's what's coming in if you take that initial first step. And I think for some of you too, with this harvest card, that's really echoing that sentiment that you have more tools at your disposal than you realize. You are so much more capable than you realize. It's really a time for you to give yourself more credit and to not feel like, some of you, I don't feel like you have to work twice as hard to get half of what someone else has. Like, some of you may have this concept that you're a hard worker, but you don't acknowledge your talent, or you don't acknowledge your intelligence or your skills. Like, don't discredit those aspects of yourself. Like, it's great that you work hard. That's awesome that you have a strong work ethic. Like, so good. That's really respectable. But you have other good qualities too. Okay? And new beginnings. I mean, we've been talking about that since you got the Fool card in the very beginning, which is card 0, right? The cat. The first card in the major arcana. So, and I mean, and you've gotten other cards that talk about new beginnings and fresh starts, right? So, especially with the 2 of Wands, you know, like, step through that door. Let's get you to the 3 of Wands. Let's see it. Let's see it. And so a lot of this is in relation to your personal transformation as well, like just acknowledging, I guess, like your own potential, like acknowledging how far you could go with this if you just got on the other side of that fear, you know? All right, let's just get some Thera-pets messages for you, because I feel like I'm starting to repeat myself, and whenever that happens, I'm like, okay, it's time to wrap up the reading. I just love these cards because they're always so sweet and reassuring, and we all need that sometimes. You are a fighter ever and onwards. Yeah, I mean, just keep moving forward. Feeling worried doesn't mean anything bad is going to happen. You're going to get through this fine, and you always find a way. Yes, 1000%. I mean, we were picking up on this idea of you maybe having issues with anxiety and overthinking, and having, you know, a lot of fear-based thoughts. And then we had also talked about you acknowledging how your past experiences, instead of just looking at it as, you know, past failures, seeing those past experiences as tools, as wisdom that you can use to further yourself now, right? And to remember, like, every time you thought you wouldn't get through something, you obviously did, right? Because you're here now. And we have trying your best is all that matters. The rest will fall into place. And that's all that we're ever capable of doing, and that's all that is ever being asked of us. And sometimes our best fluctuates, right? On any given day. And that's normal. That's part of the human experience, right? Brene Brown, she's a kind of a celebrity in the social work field, but she talks a lot about that. If you wanted to maybe check out some of her TED Talks that are on YouTube. But anyway, group 2, this was your reading. Thank you so much for letting me do this for you. I'm wishing you the very, very best, and I will see you in my next one. Last but not least, welcome to your reading. I'm so excited that I'm back to filming, and I've been wanting to do this reading for a while. It's been requested by so many people, and I know the career readings don't do as well on the channel as the love readings do, but enough of you have requested it at this point, so hopefully I'm not just speaking into the void and people will actually watch this, but we'll see. Thank you all for your patience as well. I know I've been definitely MIA for, I don't even want to look. I don't even want to know when my last video uploaded. But anyway, thank you all for your patience. And I'm doing the best that I can. It's been a lot going on in my personal life, and I'm still adjusting to a lot of things. And so I think moving forward, I'm going to try to get some sense of consistency back with filming and just be more realistic with myself, because I'm always overly optimistic about like what I can achieve and what I can do, and pretty naive about it. And so I'm gonna just try to take it as it comes, film as much as I can, and just let it be what it is, but try to be consistent. So that's the goal moving forward. We'll see how it works out. So group 3, we're gonna keep the messages pretty open. I'm gonna try to address like all possible scenarios, whether you're employed currently, a student, unemployed, all that good stuff. And we are gonna take all uprights today. So that's a long enough intro. Let's get into it. Group 3, we have the 7 of Swords. Oh gosh, what's going on? 7 of Swords to start us off. I'll be honest, the 7 of Swords, is one of my least favorite cards, although I definitely understand its function within the tarot, and it's one of those cards like you don't want to see it, but you know you need to see it, and you're grateful that at least someone has revealed it to you. There's something, I don't like this. 7 of Swords and 5 of Wands next to each other. I don't like this at all. But let's see. We got this Queen of Wands coming out. 7 of Cups. And even just the way the deck is behaving is a little bit odd, I'll be honest. 3 of Swords. What is going on? Okay, hold on. 6 of Wands. Okay, finally some positivity. Okay, okay, yeah, I don't like this. Okay, 7 of Swords next to the 5 of Wands. The 7 of Swords talks about someone being dishonest, okay? Someone being sneaky, someone being self-serving, someone betraying you. Like, it's not a great energy, and that's why I said, like, you don't like to see it, but you're almost grateful when it does come out, because it's like, well, at least I'm being tipped off about this, and the truth is being revealed. So you can see even in this card, right, like, this person is stealing these swords. They are. And they're being, and the way they're looking behind their shoulder, like they're either being caught in the act or they're trying to make sure that no one catches them. And with it being next to the 5 of Wands, this is a card that talks about competition. So this is kind of giving the energy of someone who smiles in your face and acts like they're supportive, but really is being competitive with you and maybe trying to undermine like your self-confidence. And with the 3 of Swords, this is someone that you do trust. And it could be this Queen of Wands, you know, or you could be the Queen of Wands. That's Leo, Aries, Sagittarius energy. It's divine feminine energy. But honestly, like, I think for a lot of you, you're probably the Queen of Wands, regardless of your zodiac placement. But the Queen of Wands isn't sneaky by nature. You know, like, she's pretty forward. She's pretty direct. So, I think of the Queen of Wands as being someone who's very mature, very talented. Someone who knows their worth, is quite capable. And so, it would make sense to me, like, if you were in that energy, if you were feeling like you were the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Wands is someone who could inspire jealousy very easily. Because she's in an empowered state, she knows her worth, and she's good at what she does. So there could be someone, like if you are employed, there could be someone in your workplace who is in competition with you, but you look at them like they're your work friend, you know? And so I could see, like with the 3 of Swords, why that would break your heart to know that they are trying to undermine you or trying to undercut you. So this could be like, for example, you have a friend at work, but they gossip behind your back, or they tell your supervisor negative things about you, or they try to undermine your self-esteem so you don't go after that promotion because they want that promotion for themselves. You know, it could be something like that. If you were going to read these cards very directly. And if you're a student, you know, this could be a friend who wants to get a better grade than you all the time, you know, or tries to put you down. Or, you know, like, especially like, you know what they're making me think of? You know how there's like first chair when you are in band or orchestra or something like that? Could be something like that. Like, they want to be first chair. They just, it's not that they want to see you doing bad. They just don't want you to do better than them. And I think knowing that could, yeah, like break your heart if this is someone that you trust and someone that you're close to. And I mean, for some of you, this could be an internal thing. You could be lying to yourself, having some self-limiting beliefs and thinking you're not good enough, that other people are more talented than you, and you could be just like breaking your own heart or standing in the way of your own success and victory with the Six of Wands. But honestly, for most of you, I think this is an outside influence. I really, really do. And with the Seven of Cups, you know, it's making me think of, you know how people say like a pick-me girl? Like, they want to be chosen. They want to be better than you. And it's a shame because I feel like you were kind of unaware of that dynamic. Or maybe you've suspected it at times, but it's like it's too painful to think that your friend or someone that you trust would like try to undermine you in that way. Let's see if we can get any more clarity on this. I think regardless, this isn't like, don't be worried that this is gonna affect like your success, because you, especially if you're that Queen of Wands, like you're gonna shine anyway. You're gonna shine anyway. It doesn't matter. It's making me think of Nicki Minaj which she's a Sagittarius. I would definitely say she falls into like Queen of Wands energy. But when she remixed, I think she did like a remix or a freestyle for I think it was when she did Going Bad. And she was talking about like, even when people in the industry try to undermine her, when you're the best, you shine anyway. Like, she's like, all I gotta do is sit back. I'm the best. I'm gonna shine anyway. So I'm not gonna stress if like, you know, the people who are in charge, I guess like radio DJs, like if they don't want to play my stuff, guess what? I'm going to shine anyway. It doesn't matter. Like I'm a queen, like that's my energy. And I feel like that's kind of your vibe here. Like don't worry about it in terms of like this being detrimental to your success, because you're going to, you know, like you're going to achieve what you want to achieve anyway. Like you're going to pass that class. You're going to get on the honor roll. You're gonna get that job. You're gonna get that promotion. You're gonna get praise from your boss. Like you cannot be held back by this. Like this person's trickery is not working out, but it's just like Spirit is saying, be aware of it though. Like, you know, watch your back. Seven of Swords is always saying, watch your back. You know, if this came out in a love reading, and the Seven of Swords, like you think, oh, someone's cheating on me, someone's lying to me, someone is presenting a false, you know, version of themselves. Like the Seven of Swords, like it's not good. And especially with the Three of Swords, I mean, it's breaking your heart, you know? Like this is someone that you felt or thought you had a connection with, that you thought you could trust. So I think, you know, the guidance here is just be careful about what you disclose and be careful about sharing your plans or sharing your goals, because I do think they are trying to undermine you. Five of Cups, and I noticed this as your bottom of the deck, and I thought about taking it, but I was like, nah, let me shuffle, and then it came out anyway. So here we go, the Five of Cups. This in particular here makes me think, look at how I didn't use this deck for any other group. Look at how it's depicted here. This person in the back is like chilling. This one looks like it's blaming this person, right? It looks like to me this is you. And this is that sneaky person, that Seven of Swords person. Like they created some kind of mess, and you're getting the blame for it, and this person's chilling in the back, like secretly happy about it. Like anytime you mess up, no matter how small it is, or maybe again they orchestrated it, depending on how deep this betrayal is, it's going to be different for all of you, but your reading is so specific. Like group 1 and group 2, we're talking about some really big things. You all are dealing with a really specific situation. So if this isn't resonating, go watch group 1 or group 2, or maybe this isn't your reading, but something is not right in the state of Denmark. Like with this whole situation, like this is a very like, I would say like group 1 was like a macro level reading. It's like a lot of big themes. Group 2 is like at the meso level, it's in the middle. Your reading is on the micro level. Like this is so specific, okay? Yeah, like even when you mess up something small, this person is secretly happy. You know, they're like enjoying the show, enjoying watching you mess up. Or again, if it's a really deep betrayal, they orchestrated this. They set you up for failure. And they're letting you potentially take the fall, even for something that they did. We have the Ten of Cups, though, with the Ringmaster. And it looks like everyone is toasting this Ringmaster. So like I said, you're still going to be successful. Like, don't think that this person isn't really a threat to you. But it's like, it's better for you to know this so that you can protect your emotional stake in this, right? But don't worry and think that this is going to hurt your career. In any way, because they just don't have that kind of power like they think that they do. And then these three cards came out together. We have the Devil, we have the Page of Pentacles, and we have the World. Like I said, this is someone who thinks really highly of themselves, someone who is really manipulative. And I think it all comes from insecurity. It's like if you're an insecure person, sometimes that can manifest like you overcompensate and you present as an arrogant person because it's all ego. It's all fear. And I think that's what it is. Like, you intimidate this person and they see you as competition, whereas you're just doing your best, living your life, you know? And it's unfortunate. And I mean, you see the Ringmaster on top of the World here, right? They can't compete. They can't stop you or take away something that is yours by trying to provoke these insecurities in you that they feel within themselves. This is all projection, all of it. So you have a fake friend or a fake confidant, a fake colleague in your midst here. And this may not be someone that you work with. This could just be a friend that you tend to confide in about your work, or even a family member for some of you. So yeah, I think stay grounded, stay rooted in what you are doing, and don't let your feelings for this person, your affection for them, sway you here, because I do feel like this person really manipulates you and plays on that purification. Like, it's time to cleanse your social circle. Maybe it's time for you to really take stock about who you disclose certain things to, and just be really mindful about who you are sharing certain things with, especially in terms of your career and your professional life, because this person, you know, for whatever reason, has these insecurities that you trigger because you're doing well. Or you have great potential to succeed and they see that. We got Jupiter. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like they would say like, oh, you're just lucky. Like, anytime you have any kind of success, they're like, oh, you're just lucky. You know, like, and it's so undermining, right? It really discredits you. We've got the 6th house. So yeah, I mean, this talks about career. And it's also Virgo energy. So it could be, again, like some jealousy there. Because Virgo energy can be really hard on themselves. So that could just be, again, like them kind of projecting that onto you. Like, it's painful, this like inner critic that I have, so I'm going to project it onto you and criticize you instead to kind of silence that inner critic that I'm experiencing. And with the Scorpio in the 2nd house, you know, the 2nd house talks about your material wealth, your abundance, your material possessions. And Scorpio is very transformative, so you could be going through a phase in your life where you are getting more money, you are achieving a higher status, you are in like that transitional period. And sometimes when we're on the come up, you know, we're on the up and up, that can be when people start to get jealous, when people start to get envious. And so You know, like if you're about to graduate from school, or you just landed a job where you're making more money, you know, the people who were, you thought supportive, you know, now that you're having success, now they're jealous. You know, it's like, it was okay to support you when you were struggling and you weren't really doing much and you weren't a threat to my confidence. But now that you're doing really well, now you're making me feel insecure and I don't think I can support you anymore. You know, and sometimes, unfortunately, that can happen. And I think that's the case here. And again, it may not be necessarily someone that you work with. It could be a family member or a friend that you talk about your career a lot with, or your goals with, okay? Let's just see. I feel like your reading is pretty cut and dry, honestly. Like, you are doing so well. Like, you're doing so well. The only thing is just be careful about who you trust. And it sucks to have to say that, but glamour. Someone is not as they seem. That message just keeps coming up over and over and over again. Someone is trying to trick you. Someone is wearing a false mask. Not all that glitters is gold. And for some of you, be very, very mindful. Be very careful of any type of contract that you sign, any job opportunity you take. Make sure they're not selling you a false kind of promise here. Know your worth. And if you are in that situation, like if this isn't a personal thing, if this is an organizational thing, don't settle. If you take a job and in the first couple weeks you're like, I'm seeing a lot of red flags, I'm seeing a lot of things that don't feel right, this isn't what they promised me, this isn't how they presented the job responsibilities to be, go ahead and get out, because you can do better. You're the Queen of Wands, right? There's no point in settling. That could be the case for some of you as well. Yeah, psychic protection. Like, that's, again, I feel like Spirit just wants to say that over and over again. Like, you are divinely protected in this situation. Like, Spirit doesn't want you to stress over this. Spirit just wants you to be aware. You know, and there's a difference. There's a difference. Yeah, peace. Like, don't think that this is going to disrupt your happiness, your contentment, your peace. Like, you are so divinely protected here. You are so divinely protected. They can't hold you back. They can't, I mean, they just don't have that kind of power. They don't. And it may hurt. You may feel, you know, emotionally like, dang. But ultimately, like, they're like small potatoes, I guess. Like, they just aren't that important in the grand scheme of things. Like, they can't, I don't know, group 3, like, you got some star power. Like, I was drawn to the Cirque Du Tarot for you all. So, like, you have, I don't know, like, you're meant to shine. Like, I'm not just trying to hype you up, but, like, you have something about you that is, I guess, made for this particular, sorry, I just hit my cabinet, that is made for this particular role. Like, you were born to play this role. Like, you are the star for this role. Whatever this is for you in terms of your career. So no one can take that from you. It's always going to be yours. So, I mean, just don't stress too much about it, okay? But just be aware. All right. Let's end your reading with some Thera-pets advice cards. These are just really supportive messages, and I think, you know, we all need some sweet, reassuring messages sometimes. We have, no beating yourself up anymore. It doesn't help and you don't deserve it. Yeah, I mean, especially if you have someone trying to undermine you, just remember, you didn't do anything to deserve it. No one ever said you were perfect, because you're a human being, and just give yourself grace. We have, you're strong, smart, and you got this. Yep. And we have, hey, you matter, thanks for existing. Yeah, don't let this person, I mean, you're the Queen of Wands, you know, like, don't let them undermine your confidence, okay? All right, group 3, this was your reading. I really enjoyed this. It was very unexpected, like I said. Hopefully it resonated and it was helpful. And I'm wishing you the very, very best, and I will see you in my next one. Please take care, group 3.